I cannot believe they just did that to Jason Morgan. I am sitting here staring at my screen, and my jaw is literally on the floor because I cannot process what I just watched. I have been watching this show since 2015, and I have seen some wild, unbelievable, completely unhinged plot twists in my time as a fan, but this is the absolute worst, most heartbreaking, most infuriating thing they have ever done. Jason Morgan is dead. And not just dead in some heroic blaze of glory saving the city, but dead by suicide in a dark, miserable WSB prison cell. I am shaking just typing this because it feels so incredibly wrong, but at the same time the tragic logic of it is tearing me apart. Can we talk about this? Am I the only one who feels like they just ripped the heart out of Port Charles? I mean, we all knew Steve Burton was taking a break, we all knew Jason was going to be written off for a little while, but this is how they do it? Let's back up for a second, because I need to get my thoughts in order. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, back to the point. Jason was arrested by Dante Falconeri in the gym parking lot. We all saw that coming. We all knew Jason was taking the fall for Rocco Falconeri. Rocco, a literal teenager, grabbed a gun and shot Ross Cullum in the back to save Jason's life on Pier 55. And Jason, being the ultimate protector, the man who has spent his entire adult life sacrificing his own freedom and happiness for the people he cares about, immediately took the blame. He let Dante slap the cuffs on him, he let the WSB extradite him. He walked into that transport van knowing he was walking into hell, all to make sure Dante and Lulu's kid didn't spend the rest of his life in federal prison. That is classic Jason. That is the Stone Cold we know and love. But what happened next is what is making me want to throw my remote at the television. Because Ross Cullum is a monster. I mean, we knew Cullum was dirty, we knew he was dangerous, but the absolute depravity of this man is off the charts. Cullum woke up in the ICU, he survived the surgery that Lucas Jones performed on him, and the terrifying thing is, Cullum knows Jason didn't shoot him. Cullum is a highly trained WSB director. He knows where the shot came from, he knows Jason was standing in front of him, and he knows someone else pulled that trigger. And Cullum, with all his twisted, vindictive rage, decided to use the full weight of the WSB to crush Jason. Cullum didn't just want Jason locked up. Cullum wanted the name of the person who actually shot him. He wanted the real shooter, and he was willing to do whatever it took to get that name out of Jason Morgan. So, Cullum had Jason tortured. I can barely even type the words. They took Jason to some undisclosed, off-the-books WSB black site, and Cullum systematically had him tortured. The physical and psychological torment they must have put him through. It makes me sick to my stomach. Jason has survived brain damage. He has survived being shot, stabbed, thrown off bridges, and held captive by madmen. But this was the WSB. This was a calculated, endless cycle of pain designed to break the unbreakable man. And Cullum knew exactly what he was doing. He was going to keep hurting Jason, keep tearing him apart piece by piece, until Jason gave up Rocco's name, and Jason knew it. That is the most devastating part of this entire storyline. Jason Morgan is not a man who breaks. He is not a man who talks. But he is a man who calculates odds. Jason realized that Cullum was never going to stop. Cullum was going to keep torturing him until his body gave out, or worse, until they used some kind of truth serum or psychological warfare that Jason couldn't fight off. Jason realized that as long as he was alive, Rocco was in danger. As long as Cullum had him in that cell, there was a chance the truth would come out. So Jason made the ultimate, most horrific sacrifice. He took his own life in that prison cell to guarantee his silence, to guarantee that Rocco Falconeri would never be touched by the WSB. I am sobbing. I am literally sobbing because the sheer weight of that decision is so heavy, so incredibly dark, and so completely in character for Jason that it hurts. But then we get to the fallout, and this is where I start screaming at my television. Jack Brennan! Brennan, the man who has been playing all sides, the man who recruited Jocelyn, the man who has been hovering around Carly like a dark cloud, is the one who delivers the news. Brennan walks into Carly's place, and you can just tell from the look on his face that the world is about to end, and he tells her, He looks Carly in the eye and tells her that Jason Morgan is dead by his own hand in a WSB holding facility. I have watched Laura Wright deliver some incredible performances over the years, but her reaction in this scene deserves every single Emmy. Carly didn't just cry, she didn't just scream, she literally fainted. She collapsed. The physical shock of hearing that her best friend, her soulmate, the man who has been the anchor of her entire existence for decades, took his own life was too much for her brain to process. Her body just shut down. And seeing Carly, the strongest, most resilient, most stubborn woman in Port Charles, just crumble to the floor like a rag doll, it broke me. It absolutely broke me. I know some people are loving this drama, but personally, I feel like I've been hit by a truck. And when Carly woke up, the denial was instant, and honestly, I am right there with her. Carly immediately refused to believe it. She knows Jason. We all know Jason. Jason Morgan does not quit. Jason Morgan does not take the easy way out. Carly is convinced, absolutely convinced, that Jason was murdered. She thinks Cullum tortured him to death and the WSB staged it to look like a suicide to cover their tracks. And you know what? She might be right. I mean, it's a soap opera. Is he really dead? Did Cullum kill him? Or did Jason actually do it to protect Rocco? The ambiguity is driving me insane, but Carly's absolute refusal to accept the suicide narrative is exactly why I love her character. She is going to tear the WSB apart looking for the truth, and I am here for it. I want Carly to burn the whole organization to the ground. Then there's Sonny. Oh my god, Sonny. Maurice Bernard broke my heart tonight. Sonny Corinthos has lost so much lately. He's dealing with Jen Sidwell, he's dealing with Marco's death, he's dealing with the feds, and now this. The news of Jason's death hit Sonny like a physical blow. You could see the air leave his lungs. Jason isn't just his enforcer. Jason is his brother. Jason is the only person in the world who has never, ever betrayed Sonny. And to find out that Jason died alone, in a cold cell, under WSB custody, Sonny was just completely bang huang, shocked, stunned. He was speechless. And you know that silence is dangerous. When Sonny gets loud, he's angry. But when Sonny gets quiet, people are going to die. Sonny is going to unleash a war on Cullum and the WSB that will make the 5 families look like a joke. But the scene that actually made me have to pause the episode and walk away for a minute was Danny Morgan, Jason's son. The boy who just had to say goodbye to his father, who knew his dad was making a sacrifice, who has been carrying the weight of this secret. When Danny heard the news, the absolute gut-wrenching sobs that came out of that kid, I just can't. Danny crying over his father's death is the most painful thing I've watched all year. And then, the grief turned to pure, unadulterated rage. Danny didn't just cry, he demanded revenge. And who is he blaming? Jack Brennan. Danny looked like a miniature Jason in that moment, his eyes completely dead and cold, screaming that he wants revenge against Brennan for letting this happen, for being part of the WSB machine that took his father away. Is Danny gonna go down a dark path? I'm terrified for him. I mean, remember when they tried this with Michael? When Michael got shot and went to prison and got so dark? Yeah, didn't work then either. It just caused years of trauma. Now they are doing it to Danny. Danny is going to want blood. He is going to target Brennan, and I am so scared that this kid is going to ruin his life trying to avenge a father who literally died to protect another kid. Which brings me to Rocco. Oh, Rocco. If and when Rocco finds out that Jason was tortured and killed himself just to keep Rocco out of jail, that guilt is going to destroy him. Rocco is a good kid. He shot Cullum to save Jason, and now Jason is dead because of it. And Lulu and Nathan? They're sitting on a ticking time bomb. They covered this up. They hid the truth from Dante, and now Jason is dead. When Dante finds out that his son pulled the trigger, that his ex-wife and his best friend covered it up, and that his best friend Jason died to protect that secret, Dante is going to lose his mind. The fallout from this is going to shatter the Falconeri, Spencer, and Corinthos families forever. I am just so overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of this episode. I hate that Jason is gone. I hate that he suffered. But the dramatic potential here is off the charts. Every single character is affected. Carly is on a warpath, Sonny is plotting murder, Danny is seeking vengeance, and Rocco is carrying a deadly secret. I don't know how I'm gonna wait until tomorrow's episode, I really don't. This show has me in a chokehold, and I am both dreading and desperately anticipating what happens next. They better give Steve Burton the most epic return storyline of the decade when he comes back, because this exit is going to leave scars on Port Charles that will never, ever heal.